or watching us live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Happy Thanksgiving for everybody. And if you're Japanese, happy Ho'onko, Jodo of Shinshu Day. Hope you're having a great one. Lots to get to today because, of course, this is a big sports spectacular weekend, week, holidays that we're looking forward to right now. And we will be covering a lot of it here for you today. We're going to start with some college football with Craig El Guapo Trapp. We're going to talk Florida State, Florida, Arizona, Arizona State, Texas A&M, LSU. Then we're going to do some NFL with Chip Chirimbes. We're going to talk Raiders, Chiefs, Pats, Texans, and the Saints and Falcons revenge game there. We're going to talk about that one. And finally, we're going to top it all off. Tony El Tigre Tellez and Craig Trapp will join me for our college football rapid fire segment. So if you want to bet on some sports this Thanksgiving holiday, this is a great time for you to get out a pen and paper, or pencil and paper, depending on what you like to write in, because we're going to be giving away a lot of free picks on the show. And if you're not hearing a game that you want to bet on, go to our website, picksandparlays.net. We have a ton of free picks out there for you. And when you're ready, our expert picks are waiting for you as well with a couple of special offers because of the holidays. First, we have promo code TURKEY will get you 15% off anything you get on the site. Go to the cart, put in promo code TURKEY, get 15% off. And right now, it's $80 off a 7-day pass. That's right, $80 off a 7-day pass. That is our Black Friday. A little early, but that's our Black Friday spectacular for you. So when you bet with smarts, bet with intelligence. Have picks and parlays help you become the winning bettor that you know you want to be. All right, coming up after the break, we're going to talk college football with Craig Trapp. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Picks and Parlays. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber. We are broadcasting live on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network and also streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We'd love to hear from you during the show. All you have to do is, that comment section on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Put your comment, who you're betting on, how we got it right or how we got it wrong, how much money you made with us at Picks and Parlays. Or, if you want to be rude, you can be rude as well, but just not too rude, okay? And we'll put the comment up on the screen and we'll bring you into the show. I've been promising you that we're going to have some NFL, so we're going to leave that for the next segment. We're going to have some college football with Craig Trapp, who joins me in the set. Craig, how are you doing today?
Good. I was a little worried there. I was like, I didn't prep for college.
Well, I like to throw you a few curves now and then. Why not, right? You know why? Because I can.
Well, it's Thanksgiving holiday week, so everybody's a little messed up.
So instead of Florida State, Florida, why don't we do Raiders at Chiefs? Would you like to do that? If you want Raiders and Chiefs, hold on. I'm going to get to that in just a minute, okay? All right, Craig, let's start, shall we? We've curated three of the finest games of the weekend for our viewers and listeners. Let's start with what I consider to be the least interesting of the three. Arizona at Arizona State. Arizona 4-7, 2-8-1 against the spread in the midst of a 6-game losing streak. Most recent loss was 7. They lost 35-7 at the hands of Utah. They're 0-6 against the spread in the last 6 games. They're 1-7 straight up in the last 7 on the road. This team just really isn't very good. Arizona State, they're better, but not by like leaps and bounds. They're 6-5. They're 4-7 against the spread. They snapped a 4-game losing streak last week with the 31-28 win over Oregon. Quarterback Joey Yellen is listed as a question mark for this game, so that may affect. Some lines. They're 1-4 against the spread the last 5, and they're over in 5 of the last 6. Craig, I got Arizona State minus 13 with a total of 59.5. Help me make some big money on this one.
Well, I don't know about big money. I don't know if you go crazy on this game because these rivalry end-of-the-year matchups can be a little crazy. Coming from Ohio, obviously this is big week in Ohio State, Michigan, but this is the week across college football where everybody plays their in-state rival or their rival. So Arizona State obviously could be a huge letdown spot after you beat the top-ranked team, or one of their top 2 ranked teams in their conference are, of course, Utah and Oregon. They beat Oregon last week. Huge upset. Probably disrupted the playoff chances for the Pac-12, I'm guessing, although, of course, Oregon will still play Utah in the Pac-12 championship. But as far as this game is concerned, I don't know how you can bet Arizona. They have been a dumpster fire.
A junk team.
The last half of the year has been terrible. I think you have to fade them until they prove you otherwise. At this time of the season, you just sometimes have to ride the trends. Let's take Arizona State, the big number. I do think the quarterback will play this week for Arizona State. So the line is saying that he is going to play. If this line drops, it means that the news is starting to come out that he might not play.
And 2-8-1 against the spread for Arizona. You're playing with a little fire right there.
Well, they're 2-7 their last 9, so that's even worse.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
They have been absolutely terrible. They fired Rich Rodriguez looking for more, and Kevin Sutherland hasn't really delivered as far as the last 2 seasons.
Maybe you can go to UNLV.
I don't know about that. UNLV is looking for some real, I think, experience because they're looking to move into the new Raiders Stadium with some momentum.
With a team that somebody cares about, other than
Hopefully.
the 5 people here in Las Vegas,
Hopefully.
like myself.
Yes.
Do care. All right. Florida State versus No. No. That'll be last. Teasing again.
Yeah.
Texas A&M at LSU. Let's do this one. Texas A&M 7-4 against the spread. Put up a good fight against Georgia, but still lost 19-13. It was a good game. All 4 losses have come to top 10 teams for Texas A&M. This is the 3rd time the Aggies, though. They are so unlucky, okay? This is the 3rd time the Aggies have played the number 1 ranked team. They played Clemson when they were ranked number 1. They played Alabama when they were ranked number 1. And now they get to play LSU when they're ranked number 1. And they didn't do very well against the last 2 times out. Probably not this time either. LSU 11-0, 6-3-2 against the spread. Will they make it a perfect 12-0, I think is a big question. Incredibly, their defense is only 4th ranked, but is only ranked 42nd in college football. But it's the offense, led by Heisman favorite Joe Burrow, that's really impressive this season. LSU is 7-4 straight up, 14-5-2 against the spread in the conference. Big favorites here, -17 with a total of 62.5. Craig, what do you like on this one?
Well, that line of 17 tells you how good this LSU's offense is. Of course, in years past, this LSU team couldn't score points. They had great defenses, had great offensive talent. I mean, we've seen all these guys end up in the NFL, but didn't produce anything. Now this offense, Joe Burrow, unless something really weird happens, he's going to win the Heisman. Probably be the #1 pick. Probably going to be with my Bengals next year. I'm cross their fingers hoping.
And he's thinking, maybe I'll just go to dental school.
Yeah. Well, he's from Ohio, too. He's from Athens, Ohio, so where OU's from. So it would be a good story him headed back home. But as far as this one, I think Texas A&M, this is the third time they faced the #1 team. I think they covered both of those other games. They're 3-0. They're 3-0 against the spread on the road this year. I think they make it 4-0 here. LSU has nothing to prove left. They just got to win this game. They're already in the SEC championship game. All they have to do is win the SEC or win these next two games. They're in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to be going in. And I just think this defense is just allowing a little too many points to cover a big number like this. I like Texas A&M here, a distracted LSU team that has the SEC championship next week. Let's take Texas A&M to maintain that 3-0 undefeated streak on the road. I think they get it done as far as the points are concerned.
Yeah, yeah. As far as the points, they're going to get it done. It's the points.
Right, points.
Yeah, points. Florida State, Florida. You see, I told you we'd get there.
We got there.
We got there eventually. Florida State 6-5, 4-6-1 against the spread. Florida State no longer the favorite in these rivalries. I mean, there was a time when they were the shiznit, but they are not anymore. Improved on offense since firing Willie Taggart, for sure. But a lot of the Seminoles' bowl hopes lie on this result, Craig. I mean, really, it could be the Quick Lane Bowl, could be the Military Bowl, could be the world-famous Pinstripe Bowl, and if they're super lucky, it could be the Yoshinoya Beef Bowl. But either way, they need to win this game. The improved offense, though, has ended their under streak. This is from a betting perspective, because that's really what we talk about here. This is really interesting. The improved offense has put the under streak to an end. They've gone over in the last two since the change. The Gators, on the other hand, 9-2, 6-3-2 against the spread. They're on fire right now. En fuego trap. They're 13-5-2 against the spread in the last 20 following a bye week. Also 16-4 straight up. They're huge 18-point favorites with a New Year's Six Bowl appearance on the line. Which one of the six it will be, we'll have to wait and see. Big favorites again, -17, totals 54.
Well, you even have 17.5s out there. So if you're going to play the Florida team, you better shop around because this line is going to be off of that key number of 17. Remember, last year Florida won in a blowout at FSU 41-14. I think this Florida State team is just as bad. Florida's probably even better this year. Florida's also 4-1 against the spread at home this year. So I don't know how Florida overlooks this because they have a lot on the line. Usually in a rivalry matchup, especially when the other rival is not very good, which Florida State obviously firing the coach has not had a good season. But I don't think they overlook it this year because they're still hoping that they get in one of those one of the top bowls out there. So I think Florida lays the wood here. I know it's a big number in a rivalry matchup, but we're going to lay the 17.5 as Florida State, yes, they've been a little better since firing Willie Taggart, but it's really more about the competition.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't played the best teams since then. So I think this, and the ACC is not very good this year. So winning in the ACC is not that difficult. That's why it was kind of surprising Florida State had a down year, because the ACC was actually down this year. But let's take the Florida Gators -17.5. I think it continues to be an ugly streak for Florida in this matchup.
And Florida do not find their way even to the Yoshinoya Beef Bowl, which I know would be a great disappointment. All right. By the way, we got a message from somebody watching on YouTube. They want to know about the Bears-Lions game. I can tell you that is not one of the games we're going to be covering right after the break. So go to picksandparlays.net. I do know we have coverage on the site with a free pick for Bears-Lions at picksandparlays.net. So we want to help you out. Go to picksandparlays.net. You will find it right there. And if you want more analysis, deeper analysis, different picks, our expert picks are already waiting for you with a couple of specials. 15% off everything in the cart. Use promo code TURKEY and $80 off. Is it $80 off?
$80 off.
Yeah, $80 off. A 7-day pass.
Yep, 2 for 1 expert pass underneath the premium picks drop down.
We'll be right back after this. Well, welcome back to the show and a happy Thanksgiving to all of our viewers and listeners, whether you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, or listening to us on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. We welcome you to the show. Great to have you with us. We are covering a lot of games on the show today. By the way, find me on Twitter. My handle is @Nick Geber. It is the holiday season, so the games come thick and fast, and we like to stay with it for you and give you all the picks so that you can smile at the end of the holiday rather than crying into an empty bottle of beer. And why empty? Because you drank it last night and can't afford a new one today. We will make sure you avoid that problem. Promised you some NFL action. I almost said NBA. I'm all over myself today, but it is the National Football League. We're going to look at 3 games today. Joining me in studio, our resident handicapper and expert, man who's been betting sports since Abraham Lincoln's day, Chip Chirimbes. How you doing, Chip?
Doing great, Nick. Doing great. It's great to be here, and we've got some interesting games to go over.
We do, and we won't do the college football games that we just did with El Guapo, so we will move along. We do have 3 interesting games.
Yes,
actually.
we do.
I tell you what, kind of a really fun game for me, Chip.
What's up?
Is the revenge game, the Saints Falcons. This is an interesting. I love sports matchups like this, where there's more than just a grind on the line,
right,
where there's some passion, some emotion. I mean, in American sports, we don't have promotion and relegation. You're either fighting for a playoff position or you're not. And so
I got to pull out my Funk and Wagnalls just to figure out what you said. But this Atlanta-New Orleans game is a good one. Go
yes,
ahead.
It certainly is. This is only the 3rd time since 2013 that the Saints have been a 7-point or more road favorite. I mean, this is why it's great stuff, right? It's payback time because obviously the Falcons upset the Saints 26-9 in New Orleans back in Week 10. Right. So they went to their house and they did them at their house. Now it's time for a little payback. For the Falcons, though, the joy associated with a 2-game winning streak, what they were just on. Oh, the Bucs, they crushed it. Misery in Tampa. Lots of injuries, though, for both these teams. So that's really my question to you before I let you get into your analysis of the game. But the injury roster is, I was going to say, larger than the population of Tampa Bay, but there are actually a lot of people.
Well, I think the number always reflects that. So I don't put all that much stock in it unless it's a really top your quarterback or and a player that's so key. But this Atlanta team, like you said, they opened the season by beating New Orleans. They've had a horrible year. 4-7 against the points. They've only won 3 of 11 games straight up. And Nick, these 2 teams, the Saints and the Falcons, have had a tremendous rivalry through the years. They always get the unexpected. The underdog has won 9 of the last 12 meetings between these 2. So they really come to play each other. And this year, like you said, they opened up in New Orleans, and Atlanta comes down there and smacks the Saints. The Saints have won they won 8 of 9 and 7 of 9 against the points since then. But, New Orleans, when they get to play in this type of situation, they seem to be able to gather their forces. This game's Thursday night, and believe it or not, New Orleans games have gone 7-0-1 to the under on Thursdays. And maybe it's because of the short week or preparation. They don't have their offense quite in gear. But under in the Atlanta games, in the last 10 times that New Orleans and Atlanta played is good 7 out of the 10 times. And Atlanta has gone under 9 of the last 10 overall. There's no other way for me to go in this game. I'm not even going to worry about the revenge part of it. Atlanta at home, but I'm going to play this game under the total.
Oh, we're going to go under, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the total is still 48.5, or did it shift?
I would imagine it probably might move by game time, but like I've always said before, you play the best number you can. You should have more than one out there. You should have so that you'll be able to have an option. And whatever it is, play the under. That's the side.
All right, you got it there. All right, let's move on to the next one, shall we? Raiders at Chiefs. The Raiders are 6-5. 6-5 against the spread as well. They need this game to keep their thin playoff hopes alive, and they are thin. They're coming off a 34-3 tonking
after losing to the Jets.
Yeah. They're 1-9 straight up in the last 10 versus the Chiefs, so it doesn't bode well right there.
Right.
The Chiefs, on the other hand, 7-4, 6-5 against the spread, coming off a bye week. The last game was that Azteca Bowl win over the Chargers. It was 24-17. And total has gone over in 13 of 19 for the Chiefs. Potentially high-scoring game here, Chip. The Chiefs, big favorites at minus 9.5.
I sort of see it the other way. Like you said, Oakland's had such difficulties playing the Chiefs. They've only covered one of the last 6 times they've gone there, and they're 3-9 in the last 12. But this Kansas City team, the last 22 times that they've played the Raiders, they've gone under 17 times. And that's a huge number for these two teams to be going against each other and continually playing to the under. And the under is 21-8 in their last 29 meetings. So if you look at Oakland's side as well, I mean, their offense last week was totally shut down by the Jets. I mean, everyone was kind of surprised, except we did post the Jets out there. They are 8-1 after a straight-up loss to the Raiders, so they usually bounce back under Gruden. They've really shown that ability to recover, but they are 19-8 to the under when they're playing on grass. They're not on the fast surface, Nick, and they're 20-7 to the under when they're in the AFC West. So the conference games, the division games, are like we have said before. They gear up, they know each other, and they're familiar with each other. Those games have more of a tendency to stay under than if you're playing someone from out of conference. 20-7 in the last 27 games within conference play. I see Oakland and Kansas City once again going under the total. Kansas City's a 10-point favorite here. That's a huge number, but they've had such a great success at home against the Raiders. Like you said, the Raiders just 1-9 in the last 10 times they've been there to win a game. Maybe I'd lay it, but I think the safer way to go is to play this game under the total.
Yeah, the thing is, you have to ask, the Raiders desperately need this game.
Well,
I mean, for me, that changes it up a bit, because what's going to happen is they're either going to go a little crazy, and it could be a high-scoring game, or the flip side is they could really button it down. But they do need this game.
Well,
so
see, sometimes I feel that the team in need has more pressure on them, and it's more difficult for them to perform. And very often you look to play against the team that's in need. And I think it's a little bit early right now to actually hang that on the Raiders that they have to win this game. They do have 4 games left, so we'll see what happens.
A team in need is a team indeed. Okay.
Right.
Next up. The Patriots at the Texans. New England, I hate them. They are Manchester United to me. They are the Man United of American football. They're a good team. They're not quite the same team, Chip,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
I mean, this is a team really that's getting it done on its defense, which is really spectacular. I don't know what else to say. Offensively, they're kind of average, to be fair.
Yes.
They're 7-1 straight up in the last 8-9 games. They're 10-1, obviously, on the season.
Right.
The one loss to their name. They're 7-4 against the spread. But we talk about the defense for this Patriots team. I mean, they've given up more than 14 points only once this season. And, this game is the Texans' offense against the Patriots' defense, really, because that's what the Texans are all about. Although they're top of the AFC South, they're 7-4, 5-6 against the spread. They've won over. Let's have a look. They've got over 7 of the last 32. They've got over 7 of the last 32 against the spread in prime time, which this game is.
Yeah.
But it's a matchup for me that's so interesting because, as I said, it's the offense versus the defense. But does the Texas offense, is it the right offense against this Patriots defense?
I don't know if
I don't think so, right?
I don't know if anyone has a right offense against this Patriot defense. And New England has been fortunate enough, let's admit, to play a fairly weak schedule. I mean, you're dominating Miami and you're dominating the Jets. But like you said, their defense has been outstanding to the point of where the last 35 games on the road for the Patriots, 25 have gone under, Nick. They're 25-10 in those situations. They're 20-7 to the under after a loss. So the Patriots are looking to regroup here. In the series between these two, the favorite has gone 6-2-1, and the home team has gone 8-2-1 against the number. Now, I have a side on this game, and it's part of my Turkey Shoot promo, Nick. So I'm going to be using this game, New England and Houston, as my big Sunday night bailout winner. And, we've had a lot of them. And we're coming on the Sunday nights, 8-3 on the year. But this contest, I think there's a major coaching advantage for the Patriots. I'm not a big fan of O'Brien at Houston. And, Houston has gone over 8 of their last 11 games. So maybe, I might take a step back with this, but this New England defense has been so dominant. This New England defense has just controlled the tempo of every game. And, their offense, Nick, hasn't been as explosive as it has been in the past. They've lost a little bit off their running game, and I think Brady's accuracy maybe and timing isn't quite what it has been in the past.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Right? And
is this his last year?
I don't know. It depends. I mean, he says he's got 2 more years after this. I mean,
Really?
What the heck? I mean, they're 10-1. It isn't like.
Do they allow you to take a walker onto the football field?
Well, I think if you play,
tank?
I want to say about this being a handicapping business, and we can't add that kind of a handicap to a player.
Chip, I mean, it's only -3, by the way. I mean, they're not prohibitive favorites here. And I think that is the offense question mark about New England. But the total still's 44.5. And so you're saying under on this one, and I think
I think under. I think Belichick can know how to contain Watson, and it looks like Texans, which have had formidable defenses in the past, it looks like that the Patriots don't have that explosiveness. They just don't have that ability to bang out those big plays. It's dink and dump, and they're going their series. They'll run 12 plays in order to kick a field goal, or if they end up, they're just time-consuming offense.
It's not the same team. Chip Chirimbes, chicken dinner Chirimbes. Always a pleasure. By
Turkey
the way,
shoot weekend.
You can always find Chip's picks up on picksandparlays.net. Right now we have a very special offer in celebration of Thanksgiving. Anything you put in the cart, 15% off. Use promo code TURKEY. And right now, $80 off our 7-day pass for 2 cappers. That's $80 off. Make sure Chicken Dinner Chirimbes is one of them. All right, we're going to step aside, take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to come back with Craig Trapp and Tony El Tigre Tellez for some college football rapid fire. In the meantime, folks, stay with us, all right? And if you have a comment, we'd love to hear from you on Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook. And if you want to use the hashtag, it's hashtag Parlay Radio. Go get a pen and paper. We'll be right back in a couple of minutes with loads more free picks here on Picks and Parlays. Welcome back to Picks and Parlays here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, also streaming live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. I'm your host, Nick Geber. We've covered an awful lot so far. We've done some college football, we've done some NFL, but if we didn't get to the college football game you wanted, never fear, because, well, this is the college football rapid fire segment. So we're going to bring in our expert handicappers, Tony El Tigre Tellez and Craig El Guapo Trapp. Let's do some college football rapid fire, gentlemen. Hit me with your best shot. Come on, fire away. Let's do it. Let's bring them on. We've got, 7 games to get to. Gentlemen, welcome. Happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Happy Thanksgiving, Nick. It's going to be a big one. Rivalry week here to finish up college football season.
All right. We got Tony.
I am here.
All
happy
right,
to be here.
Tony.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Yes, indeed. Okay, let's start, shall we? 11-0 Ohio State against 9-2 Michigan. Not Michigan State. Michigan. I got it, Tony. Okay, let's start. El Tigre, let's start with you. What do you see in this one?
Yeah, we've got here this total at 50. Ohio State favored by 9. I'm going to look to the total in this one. I like this game to go under total of 50 points. We've seen the Wolverines defense really step up at home where they hold opponents at 226 yards, 11 points a game. The Buckeyes, they've covered a lot of games. They blow out teams, but you have to be impressed the fact that even though they have these large leads, their defense still holds up, and they hold up on the road, holding opponents at just 229 yards, 47% completion rate. They dominated that Penn State offense last week. If not for a couple of turnovers, that margin of victory would have been a lot more than 11. I like this one to go under total of 50.
Tigre, what's up? Are you growing a beard?
Oh, trying to.
Okay, you're going to look like Mountain Man. Mountain Tigre. Okay. Trapp, what say you?
Well, this one has been dominated by Ohio State in recent years. Hard to go away from Ohio State the way they've been playing. Justin Fields is, I don't think he's going to win the Heisman. I think he'll probably come in second. I think this Ohio State defense steps up big. I think Jim Harbaugh's losing in big games continues, and his winless streak against Ohio State continues. Let's lay the Ohio State Buckeyes -9 in this one.
All right, let's move along. Next game. We've got 11-0. They're perfect. They're Clemson. They're big 27-point favorites, and they're playing 4-7 South Carolina. We've got 50.5 total points. Gentlemen, let's start with you. Craig Trapp, over or under?
Well, I don't think you can lay the 27 points in Clemson in a rivalry game. I think Clemson obviously has bigger fish to fry. They're going to roll this game. They're going to roll in the ACC championship game. But I do think the under is the play here. I think Clemson just wants to stay healthy. I think their defense and their first string, both offense and defense, hopefully will be out of this by the end of the third quarter. I like the under 50.5 in a rivalry game at South Carolina here.
Tigre.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and lay the points with Clemson here. Things aren't looking good for South Carolina. They've lost 4 of their past 5. There was even talks of buying out their head coach, but when you look at recent losses, 24 at Texas A&M, they lost to App State, 20 at Tennessee, 11 at home to Florida. Their run game's struggling. And looking here at Trevor Lawrence, his numbers have been fantastic in the month of November, 76% completion rate, 10 touchdowns, no picks. They've scored 52 points or greater the past 4 games. I'm going to go ahead and lay it here with Clemson.
All right, you're going to take the points with Clemson. Craig, you're going to go under. Speaking of teams with great records, this is a huge rivalry. Georgia 10-1 against 3-8 Georgia Tech. Georgia, obviously, the huge favorites here. 28-point favorites. And the total points, 46.5. Let's start with Tony Tellez.
Yeah, this one I'm going to go ahead and go under total of 46.5. The Yellow Jackets 2019 season was a season in transition from that triple option offense to a more modernized offense. They've struggled really facing the 2 good defensive teams of late, getting shut out at Virginia Tech, scoring only 10 at home to Pittsburgh. Georgia, well, their defense just outstanding, as we know. Their offense still questionable. Jake Fromm completing barely half of his passes, but I really see Georgia building a lead here and just milking clock because they got LSU next week in the SEC title game. So I look for Georgia just to get this game out of the way, get it won, and leave and stay healthy. Go under total of 46.5.
All right, you may be caught in a trap, but I want to hear what you have to say. Georgia Tech, Greg.
This could be a trap game here for sure. I mean, I think Georgia, obviously, you have the big SEC championship game on, and then you have the rivalry game here on the road. I just think it's a bad spot to lay 28 points. So I'm going to take Georgia Tech all these points. I think this is an ugly game. I think Georgia wins big, but I mean, you can win big and not cover 28. So let's take Georgia Tech and all the points here.
All right, you got it. Next one up, Notre Dame 9-2 against 4-7 Stanford. Notre Dame big favorites, minus 16.5. Total points 49. Who do we start with last time? Tony? Let's go to you, Craig.
Well, Notre Dame, this is my team, and I've bet against them, I think, 3 times this year on a rapid fire segment. I've lost all 3. I think this time I'm not going to do so. This Stanford team is not great. Notre Dame continues to get better. I think Notre Dame wins here. I think they win pretty convincingly. I think the Pac-12 is just not very good this year, and I think Stanford's wins have come against some not very good teams. So let's take Notre Dame minus that 16.5. Hopefully it stays under that key number of 17. Definitely don't play it if it goes above that, but I would hope you get it under 16 or at 16.5 here.
Tony?
Yeah, I'm with Craig here. I'm going to go ahead and take Notre Dame laying the 16.5. They lose the big game to Cal. They give up 24 points to an offensively challenged Cal team. That was just a bad loss. That's their season. Look at some of the results against these bad defensive teams on their schedule. 22 points against Washington State, 13 against Colorado. They could only score 16 against your UCLA Bruins. I'm going to go ahead and lay the points here with Notre Dame. They've been playing well. They pounded Boston College 40-7. They have an NFL star running back, and it didn't matter. They still pounded BC by 33 points. Go ahead and lay the points here with Notre Dame.
Did I hear you take the Bruins name in vain? I thought I did, Tony. You do like coming on this show, do you?
I do,
Okay.
but I do like. I don't like. Okay, I don't like when I take UCLA plus 14 and they can't cover against USC. That kind of gets me pissed off.
All right. Well, it's against the spoiled children. You should always avoid that one. All right. Speaking of big records, 10-1 Oklahoma and big rivalries against 8-3 Oklahoma State. Obviously, the 10-1 Oklahoma record is going to make them minus 12 favorites or big favorites. Oklahoma State. We've got over Oklahoma State. We've got 69 points. This should be a fun game to watch. Over or under, Tony?
Bedlam, I like this game a lot, Nick. You can find it right now at picksandparlays.net.
All right, we do have a special right now. If you want to pick up Tony's pick on this game, go to picksandparlays.net, put in promo code TURKEY, get 15% off, or if you really want to kick it up a notch, use our special Black Friday $80 off a 7-day pass, any 2 cappers. Make sure Tony T is one of them. Craig, what do you say about this game?
Well, this game historically is pretty high scoring, especially since Oklahoma's offensive genius Riley has taken over. I think this one goes way over. I know it's a huge number. 69 seems like a lot, but not with an Oklahoma team that scores in the 40s pretty much every game, and a defense that seems like they give up in the 40s. I think this is a dangerous spot for Oklahoma. I mean, Oklahoma needs to win impressively. Obviously, they have the playoff hopes still alive. They're hoping to win this game and then beat Baylor next week. If they won both games impressively, I think they sneak in for the third straight year into the playoffs. But I think the top play for me in this one's going to be the over 69. I think this game ends up a 45-40 type game as Oklahoma wins, but it's really high scoring.
Big one, fun one to watch. By the way, so Al Ninos just made a comment on YouTube. He said there's lots of great NBA and NHL games on, and picks at picksandparlays.net. And Al, you and I, we're going to do some Premier League handicapping. We just have to arrange it. Okay, next one up, another big record. We're not talking about Elvis's last one. We're talking about Alabama, 10-1 against Auburn, 8-3. Alabama, not big favorites at minus 3.5. This is obviously Tua injured for Alabama. That's really the big story and issue for them. 50 points, though, is the total. And I have to tell you, I kind of like Auburn for this game. Let's go with Craig. What do you say?
Well, I think this game, remember, when Tua was healthy, this advanced line came out. I think it was 13. So now you're getting it at 3.5. So 10-point swing or 9.5-point swing by losing, yes, a top-flight quarterback. But, I mean, remember, if you're playing at Alabama, that's pretty good enough for me on most cases. But this is my game of the week, so get it over at picksandparlays.net. I have all that you need to know for just $37.99.
Cheeky devil! Teasing us out with that, and then making us go to the site, but never fear. Now's a great time, as I mentioned before. Go to the site, use promo code TURKEY, get 15% off. And if you want to get Craig's pick for this Alabama-Auburn game, great time to do it. Black Friday special, $80 off 7-day pass, any two cappers. But Tony T is not under a gag order. Tony, what do you say to this one?
Hey, Nick, we're butting heads here. I'm going to go ahead and take Alabama minus 3.5.
Oh.
I'm going, and by the way, if you took the under, I wouldn't mind it one bit, but I like Alabama a little better in this one. I'm just have some issues here with the quarterback, Bo Nix. I don't know if a one-dimensional offense can beat Alabama or actually cover in this one. When you look at him against top 25 ranked teams, Nix is completing just 49% of his passes, but this is what gets me here. Just 5.1 yards per pass attempt, a lot of checkdowns against the top competition. Mac Jones, he has seen a lot of action, a lot of mop-up duties, but he's been accurate, 71% completion rate, 7 touchdowns a pick, and nearly 11 yards per pass attempt. I don't think you're going to need a whole lot of points here from Alabama to cover. It's like I said, if you like the over, I wouldn't argue with that. But their ground attack's improving here for the Crimson Tide, 5.2 yards over their past 3 games. But again, I don't see Auburn getting a lot of third down conversions here. And Nix is the type of quarterback. This is the type of quarterback that's going to beat Alabama. You want those gunslingers that do that to this Crimson Tide defense. I don't think Nix is that type of quarterback. I'm going to go ahead and lay the points here with Alabama.
All right, you're going to take the minus 3.5 with Alabama. All right, Tony T, we do have one more. By the way, one of the things that strikes me about this college football rapid fire we're doing today is how many teams with just spectacular records there really still are in college football. I mean, did Ohio State with 11-0, we did Clemson with 11-0, Georgia 10-1, forget Notre Dame, Oklahoma 10-1, Alabama 10-1, and next up we've got Wisconsin 9-2 against Minnesota 10-1. I mean, 3 losses here between these two teams. This should be a terrific game. Wisconsin, the favorites at -3. They are the visiting team, and it is 46-point total. Let's see, who's up next? Who wants it first?
Tony.
Tony. Oh,
I'll take it. I'll take
Craig
this one.
gave it to you, Tony.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take the points here with Minnesota plus the 3. Huge game for both teams. The winner's going to get Ohio State in the Big Ten title game. But, one thing I noted here, the Golden Gophers did respond well after that loss to Iowa. They covered against Northwestern last week, put up 38 points. I like the way Tanner Morgan is throwing the football, 70% completion rate, over 300 yards passing. There might be snow. I'm okay with the snow. Just there doesn't seem to be too much wind forecasted in Minnesota. But I just prefer the passing game for Minnesota over here over the Badgers. And one thing to note, look at the Wisconsin defense. 497 yards allowed at Nebraska, 431 at Ohio State their past 2 games. And we saw how Minnesota was able to move that football on Penn State at home. I'm going to lay the points here with Minnesota. Take the points, I should say.
Take the points in Minnesota, says Tony T. What say you, Craig Trapp?
I'm in agreement here. I think Minnesota is the better team. I think the wrong team's favored. This is just a public perception thing because Wisconsin historically in recent years has been way better than Minnesota. I think P.J. Fleck returns this Minnesota team to the Big Ten championship and in short order. I really thought maybe P.J. Fleck would take more time, but he's had a great season. I think Minnesota wins outright here, so I'm going to take Minnesota on the money line, actually.
Interestingly enough, I mean, there are certain teams where the bookies and press and the pundits just can't get over a sort of bit of a sea change in a team's success over the years. We see it all the time. We were talking about that with Florida when we did the Florida State game. Interesting stuff. All right, guys. Any other games that come to mind? Craig? Nothing?
No.
All right. Well, then let's wrap that up, shall we? Let's do it, shall we? Go to Picks and Parlays.
I like Ole Miss tomorrow. Ole Miss on Thanksgiving plus 2.5. I think that's a good one.
Oh, thank you, Tony. Waiting for that extra. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Picks and Parlays. This Thanksgiving Day and run up to Thanksgiving's been incredible, and we've had so many picks for you. By the way, pick me out on Twitter. I'm at Nick Geber. If you've missed any of our picks today, we're going to recap them for you, just because we're nice and it's that holiday feeling make you all warm and fuzzy. We started off with college football with Craig Trapp. Let's take a look. Craig picked Florida State at Florida. He said take Florida minus 17.5. Then we moved along to Texas A&M at LSU. Take Texas A&M plus 17. And then we had Arizona at Arizona State. Take Arizona State minus 13.5. Next up, we had the chicken dinner himself, the big winner, Chip. We did some NFL. Saints at Falcons, take the under 48.5. We were under on all of these. Raiders at Chiefs, take the under 51.5. And the Pats at Texans, take the under 44.5. And finally, college football rapid fire. I was joined by Craig Trapp and Tony Tellez. Here we go. Craig, Ohio State at Michigan, take Ohio State minus 9. Clemson at South Carolina, take the under 50.5. Notre Dame at Stanford. Craig, take his beloved Notre Dame at minus 16.5. Tony T, his picks, Georgia Tech, take the under 46.5. And Alabama at Auburn, take Alabama minus 3.5. Wisconsin at Minnesota, take Minnesota plus 3. Those were our picks. That's a lot of picks we gave out on today's show, by the way. A lot of picks. I could use a Trumpism and say, more picks than ever before in history. But actually, if you do want really a lot more picks, go to our website, picksandparlays.net. We have a load of them on there. And right now we have a Thanksgiving special. Use promo code TURKEY, 15% off everything on the site. And we do have a Black Friday special, $80 off, a 7-day pass, any 2 cappers, picksandparlays.net. Never fear, folks, we're on every day of the week. Come rain, come shine, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. on the left coast, on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, and live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Have a great holiday. I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.